Hello there, my YouTube family. How are you? I am so glad to be back with you once again. I am here in this great Northwest, 113 degrees. Whoa, it is really hot. We have broke records. We have not known weather like we're having now. The other day it was 110. Now it is 113. That's hot, 5 a.m. in the morning. We are 90 degrees and above. So you can imagine how that is. That's very hot. And it reminds me of the datings. When you're dating a narcissist, it's hot, it's fiery, it's bubbly. When you are dating them, they seem like the perfect person, the perfect specimen. You're saying, oh, she's perfect. Oh, he is perfect. He's handsome. She's beautiful. He's smart. She's smart. And you have no idea what your life is landed for. But the narcissist is very, very, very articulate in what they're doing, very intentional in their operation status. So from the time they meet you, they have a plan. And their plan, if they choose you, and a lot of times we think we choose the narcissist, but the narcissist choose you. And when the narcissists choose you, they choose you based on your intellect, based on what they presume that you have. They look at your status. They look at how you react. They look at your emotional state. They look at how they can engraft you in. They look at how tender you are, how loving you are, how strong you are. Those that are perverted look at how fantabulous you are and just being your wild self. And it's whatever they want, that's what they're looking for. When they meet you, the moment they say hello, their intention goes to work. And they got this elaborate agenda in their mind of the description that they want that specimen to be. And then when they meet you, you don't know whether you're the number 1,000 or the number 550, based on the skill, because the younger the narcissist, the less he knows about himself or herself. And they're coming into grips with themselves. But the older they get, they don't went through a few relationships, and they got enough evidence, enough mirroring, and enough imitation to know now if I do this, I should expect this. There are occasional times that the narcissist gets surprised. They don't get their intended reaction at all. Sometimes the supply surprise them. The supply look like they're caught, and the next thing you know, the supply wiggle right off of that hook, because the supply has went through a few changes and challenges themselves. And sometimes the supply is able to pick up, oh, I missed that in the beginning, but I'm going to get it now. And the supply starts to back off because they're saying, buddy, there's no way I'm going to put myself back through that hell again. And then sometimes it's almost like this witchcraft, this mesmerization comes over you, and you are hooked. And the more you stay with them, talk with them, the more that curiosity come, and you start, those endorphins start to work, and you start thinking, ooh, I got to see what this is about. And you start ignoring those red flags. Well, we talked about it the last time, and this is part two of dating aspect of the narcissist, these dating attributes. Let's talk about that. And so here we go to number 10. The last one was the touch display, but holding boundaries. And the greater the narcissist is in this class or the school of narcissists, that means their skill level. And their skill level, the more they've been into it, the longer they've been into it, the more skilled they are in taking that supply through the process. And the supply, I think, is just a graceful going on in the relationship, when it's not. The narcissist is actually driving that relationship. They are in the driver's seat, and they're carrying you to certain stages, and they're pulling back when they need to, and they're moving forward, and they're pulling you on the freeway, and they make sure you go the scenic route, that you have all of these beautiful views to put under your belt. And so, excuse me. We had the fan on and we in air conditioned 113 degrees. You look for cold spots, all right? So the narcissists touch you, but unless the younger they are, the more aggressive they are, the quicker they want to get things done. The older they are, they get into the courtship because they understand if they get deep into your heart, you then have difficult time pulling away. You want them because you don't want to lose out thinking you found the special, the perfect, the one and only, and what you've already always dreamed of. And so the narcissists take you to the courtship and they hold back to get your thirst, to get your hunger to rise. So they don't integrate immediately sexually. They take you and wine dine you, especially if they want you for primal supply or the main supply. The main supply always get treated differently because they are to be long term. Now, when you want to get something chef it, you want to get something you can leave it, you know, you don't really want to integrate and put anything in it, you don't want any long term, then you know, you use it. You use it, you throw it in the trash and you keep moving because there's no value to it. But when you got primal supply, you want that supply to last because there's sometimes the narcissists look for long term supply. And if and usually they marry, that doesn't mean that just because they marry you that the marriage is going to work. Sometimes the narcissists marry you just to get you to get what they get out of it, or to put another notch in that belt, and they will walk away from you just marrying you, just like a regular supply, because the narcissists have an inability to love. They are incapacitated to really care about anybody else but themselves, and because they went into themselves, that's the mirror of what they see. They see themselves, and when they can't get what they want, they think that the whole world has come to an end, because when you really with a narcissist, you really see this grown-up child with a lot of temper tantrums when they can't have their way. So number 10, which we're going to go to, is to integrate. It's the data center. And this is when the narcissists get into you. And you notice that when the narcissists get into you, and even if you're married, when the narcissists go to the initial state of love bombing and he feel like he's going to lose you, or she feel like she's going to lose you, what they do is bring you into interrogation so they can get information. But what they do, they have to give you full attention. They have to give you full care. And so they spend time with you just to get that information out of you, just to get you to talk, just to get you to talk about the deep things of your heart. Because the more you talk, you start going deeper within yourself to bring out information. And then they spark that memory, things that you don't want, you didn't think about. And when they get this aha moment, because they realize now you are going back into things that really hurt you, things that really bother you, they want you to stay on that track because they need that data in the file to use it in the future to get you back in, to pull you back in, to pull you down, to just bring you to shame. Everything the narcissists get, if they ask you questions, you better believe they're planning to use that later. And when the narcissist is planning to use that later, they're going to make sure that that information is filed. And you think the narcissist care, you think the narcissist is concerned, excuse me, you guys, that the narcissist is concerned. He is, she is about themselves, not you. You're just a pawn. And you got to remember, when you got a toaster and you put toast in the toaster, you're not crying because the toaster is working. You are not screaming and hollering because you think the toaster may be too hot for the toast. You just put it in there, take the toast out and push the toaster back. Don't think about it at all. Don't think once again unless you want to use it again. That's the only time you think about it. That's the way the narcissists think about the specimen they have. And you are a specimen. We call it supply. And the supply, because the supply gives fuel. The narcissists need fuel, and the narcissist cannot live without fuel. What is fuel? The attention that you give him, the gifts that you give him, the time you give him, even negative fuel. The narcissists have to have negative fuel, because when you have holes within yourself, you need to make sure that the person you with have holes within themselves. Because if you have holes and they are whole, they're going to show you up. So you got to then bring them down. You hit them below the belly, you hit them in the knees, you make sure they come down. So it's an equalizing system, because the narcissist has to always be on top. So when the narcissists bring you to the data center and they start to integrate, we got several of these, and I anticipate a part three. There's no way I'm going to get through this. So the part three would be the final one. But they bring you to a data center, information zone, and they get all of this information out of you. And you know, once you're with them, you've been with them a while, or you married them, it comes back up. You forgot about it. They don't forget anything. They remember. They're the elephant of your soul. They remember everything you say, and they're going to remind you. They'll write it down. They'll put it in their phone, but it is embedded in the corridors of their mind, and you will go to a recall place. They're going to recall all that information, and they're going to use it. And the narcissists want the most personable information that you have. They want the most painful information that you have. That's why when you're dating, they get your attention. And they make sure they give you theirs. They make sure they give you their full attention, because a skilled narcissist know that they need information. They need that data center filled. They need those files flowing, because they're going to use it. Because once the masks fall off, they know that's the problem. Because once the masks fall off, that's when the horrendous pain start. That's when the trauma start. That's when your mind activate. Those of you who are coming out of narcissistic home, coming from narcissist parents, you're empath, and you don't been raised by two narcissists, or you have one narcissist parent, and you go back to the frequency that you have recalled and you're used to, and you get into that treadmill running now with your spouse like you ran with a child, and you are feeling that. But now it's on a closer vein, because now it's not a parent, it's a husband, it's a wife, it's a child. And so number 11 is curveballs. What are the curveballs? This is the adjustment facet. This is when they throwing you curveballs, because what the narcissist does is need you to adjust to them. So what the narcissist does, and this is when the gaslighting come in, they make you feel like something is wrong. They make you feel like you are off. They do things and then say they didn't do it. And then when you say, well, you said this, they said, but I didn't. And you said, I know you said it. I wrote it down. They said, I don't care what you wrote. I never said that. I would never say nothing like that. That is not even me. That's not even my character. When they did say it, and they said it the way you said it, and the way you said it was the way it was. But gaslighting is to treat you like you're wrong all the time, until you start self-doubting. And when you start self-doubting and you're not sure of yourself, your security factors start to diminish. And the more your security factors start to diminish, the more the narcissist can get in the soul and wreak havoc. And then gifts, standards. And this is the sellout or stand. The narcissist will give you gifts, and it seems, oh my God, you're just mesmerized. And you're thinking, oh, he loved me, he cared for me. Look at all the things he's buying for me. But what he's doing is buying into your soul. It's the buy-in principle. And they're buying into your soul, because whatever it takes to sell out in your soul, that's what the narcissist will give to you, especially those of you who get the wealthy boy, the rich boy, that can purchase what they want. Because the wealthier they are, the more they can buy more hell, the more they can buy more trauma, the more they can buy more things. So what the narcissist does is make sure that you are well supplied with what they think you're saying you want, and they make sure they give you what you want, because there's things they want, but what they want is after the takeover. What they want is after the control center has closed and you have been brought into their prison cell. And what they want is after you have committed. And when you commit to the narcissist and it's hard to let them go, that's when the narcissists feel a little more comfortable, a lot more at ease when the masks come off. So they use gifts of all kinds. In the younger narcissists, if they don't have money, instead of giving gifts, they start to deceive you to gift them. They start asking for things, and they use sex for the trade in for your money. They're good in bed, and they give you what you want, and then you start spending money lavishly on them because you're thinking of them. And so they become the gift taker instead of the gift giver. The older the narcissist, the more seasoned the narcissist, the wealthier the narcissist. Then what they do is make that supply feel so good until you lose yourself in the gifts. And once you lose yourself in the gift, they pull the rug out and they give you an acclamation to a lifestyle that is so lavish until you just don't want to be with without that lifestyle. And so now you'll do anything the narcissist say, because now it's about the lifestyle. Even though you love the narcissist with the lifestyle, you know to lose the narcissist is to lose the lifestyle. So they acclimate you to their lifestyle. They buy you things that is way above that you can ever afford, and it takes them to be able to give it to you. And that's when the gifts and the standards start to diminish in the sellout zone or the stand zone. Most people sell out. And then this is children time. Take all of it, or will you refuse and still give your children the attention? This is for a parent who's meeting a narcissist and dating the narcissist, and you have a family already. And what the narcissist does, purposely try to see what you compromise your kids. So what they do, they incorporate the kids at first, and then they make a demand that's going to pull you away from the kids, and it's intentional. And they're going to see, will you compromise your children for them, or will you say, look, I got to spend time with my children. If I can't do that, hey, this is over. Not every supply get taken. There are some supply that no matter what the narcissist does, that supply is not going to go with the narcissist. Not every supply lose, and not every narcissist win. And when the narcissists realize that they're not going to win, they usually vacate that, because a narcissist cannot handle loss. A narcissist cannot handle failure because of the grandiosity, the entitlements. They can't handle that. So when you have a child and they seem to incorporate the child, then you start thinking, when we first met, it was us and the child. Now the narcissist said, can we go? Can you get your mom to keep the kids? I just want to spend time with you. And then next week, we'll spend time with the kids. Well, the next week came, and the next week, and the next week. And when the narcissist realize you are on edge, and you get a little bit nervous about it, because at first it was us and the family. We was all a family. Now it's just me and you, and the kids are out. Then they start engrafting the kids like nothing ever happened to get you to shift. And with that vacillation brings in confusion. It brings in the struggle, and it also brings in vulnerabilities. So if you have a family, you must keep your children in the right priority. If the narcissist can't handle you and the kids as a package, you have to diminish that, because you won't know in the beginning that the narcissist has evil intent because they look so perfect. But once you discover that, you have to make a decision. You have to decide to put your children before the narcissist, because once you marry, things will change. They will not be the same. And it won't be as easy to get out of it. And then that's when you will really want to clamp down, because you're a family, but you've already compromised the zone. And then number 14, avoid contact, relationship intensity. This is when the narcissist is now going to try you in the distance. And when they try you in the distance, all of a sudden the narcissist doesn't show up. They was going to be there at 8, but now they call you at 11:30. And they tell you, oh, I'm sorry, I got busy at work and I get so tied up. But then that just didn't happen one time. It happened another time. And you keep saying, when we first started, you really was there. You loved me. I can always get you. Now I can't even get you. You don't text me back. You don't return calls. And when we called and when I talk to you, we hardly ever talk. Is it over? Do you have someone else? They tell you, no, I don't have anyone else. You're the only one I love. Come on. You know how I love you. You know how I'm crazy about you. I would never, ever leave you. But they are going to try that distance. They want to see how desperate you are for them. How much would you really give to be with them? How much would you risk if you knew that you were going to lose them? Who would you let go? What would you let go? How would you fail? Will you break down? And some of you have done that. You broke all the way down and you've said, I really can't do without you. I really love you, and I don't know what I'm going to do. See, look at you. You're talking. Your heart is talking. Your emotions talking. If you notice the narcissist, he seemed to talk to pull you into talking. But then after that, the narcissist start talking less while you're talking more. And then the narcissist seemed to back off when you're talking. And he leave you to the conversation piece. And he even let you take the lead. And he will even let you take over because they're gathering information, storing information because they need to use it. And so the narcissist would do avoid contact intensity. And when they do that in the relationship, how much do they love me? How much would you give? How much do you love me? And some of you have even had the narcissist to ask you that. How much do you love me? How much would you give for me? You know, what if I leave, what will happen? Would you even care about me? You say, of course I care about you. Would you even miss me? Of course I would miss you. And the narcissist will tell you, I love you. And you look at them, and they can see it in your eyes. Your eyes light. And I mean, they know you're there. And so what they do is the trauma bonding starts right there. You're not married. You're still dating. And they're trauma bonding you. Trauma, and then they'll bond you. They'll avoid you, then they'll connect with you. They won't call you, then they call you a lot. They won't text you, then they text you all the time. They get mad at you for nothing and just walk away to see, will you run after me or will you let me go? If you let them go, they go back to the love bombing because you haven't been trauma bonded in. You haven't bought all in. And that's the buy-in principle. When you buy in, then that's when they start to back off. That's number 14. And number 15 is awkwardness. Awkwardness. And I think that I'm going to do number 15, and I may stop at 15. The awkwardness is what will you question? What will you ignore? So they let the mask come off a little bit, because by this time you're over 3 months. You're about 4 months, 5 months in, and the narcissists know they got to do something, and they got to do something quick. Excuse me. They got to do something. They got to do something quick. The narcissists know that. So the narcissist is saying, okay, they done bought in, but I need to make another move. I need to get them in deeper. Now, this is when the narcissist is coming in with the awkwardness. What would you question? The narcissist said, I want to marry you, but I'm scared. I never loved anyone like I loved you, especially if they're already married and they're not planning to leave their wives. They're planning to bring you in later. And they tell you, you know, I'm married, but you know I don't love her. She never loved me. She never made me feel like you made me feel. When I'm with you, I feel alive. When I'm with her, I'm just there. I married her because I was forced to. We had kids, and I didn't have a chance. All of these things, and they're pinging on your heart. And here is where you have to decide, what will you give your attention to, and what will you ignore? What if you just found out he was married? Because now he's risking it to tell you. Will you ignore it? Or will you buy into it? What would you give your attention to? And this is the awkwardness. And they intentionally cause awkward moments, because these awkward moments is tampering with your emotions. Like some of you are married and they bring it into the marriage. It's not just in the, if you look at these things are happening in your marriage. And you're going through some of these married. And there are moments when he know he's losing you. He go back to the dating game. He go back to the dating pattern. He start pulling it in. He start crying, I'm sorry. I mean crying. Boy, his eyes probably bulging because it took so much effort to get that tear out. And once that tear hit your arm, you think he's crying. It took 2 hours to get that tear out. And what he want to know, what will you ignore? What would you pay attention to? Would you ignore the fact that I'm abusing the kids? Would you ignore that? Or will you give attention to it? Will you ignore the fact that I don't like for you to come on to me? That I have to be the aggressor and I want it aggressively? I want it where it hurts you emotionally, scar you emotionally, and then they make me happy while you feel like trash, and then he's satisfied? Will you ignore that? Will you give attention to it? The most powerful time you have in a relationship with a narcissist is in the beginning. The weakest moment of your life is when you're in it. Because now it take a different strategy. You have more to lose. Y'all gain businesses, you gain property, you gain, you got children. You know, you're into the family, you are into the friend, you are into the circle. So it's more to let go. And the more investment you have, the harder it is to let go, because the more shame that comes, and you're trying to avoid the shame. And some of you that are married to the narcissist, you know how this thing works. Hey, when you are dating the narcissist, baby, you have to wake up. You have to wake up with your broken heart, wake up with your tears. It's best that you cry now than to cry 20 years later. You can't get those years back. You can't overthrow them. You can't overcome them. You can't go beyond them. There is nothing that you can't overcome. All you got to do is make a decision that I will. Go look at my video, When the Supply Has Had Enough. I recommend that to everybody. Because, honey, when the supply has had enough, oh, those boyfriends and girlfriends is something else. It ain't nothing you can do. Mr. Narc, you better pack your bags, Jack, and don't come back no more, no more. Come on. Because when the supply has had enough, they done. The awkward moment, what would you give attention to? Number 15. What would you give attention to? What are you willing to ignore, and what are you willing to turn your attention to, and to say, no, I'm going to try it again. No, I'm going to do it again. This is part 2 of the dating perspective in dating a narcissist. This is not an easy gamble. This is hard on your emotion, hard on your mind. It's hard on your brain. It's hard on your body. And the longer you be with them, the more your body goes through trauma. The more your body is disturbed. The less peace you have. The less stability you have. The narcissist's job is to cause you to lose all sanctions in which you are, all confidence, until you are an emotional basket, unwrapping every year, every month, every week, every day, down to the hour, where your whole system is off course. Think about it. The last one is awkwardness. Let's leave with that. How awkward is it for you? How awkward is to know and don't believe when you see it, when you know it, when you experience it, when you feel it? How awkward it is. What are you willing to ignore dating? Those of you who are dating, what are you willing to pay attention to? I pray that you're willing to pay attention to a lot of things and ignore it and not anything. Because your greatest moment is in the dating. Because a lot of scars have not happened. A lot of pain has not happened. And if you have children, don't think of you, because it's going to feel good. It's going to feel like you're on cloud 50. And I'm telling you, they seem so perfect. It doesn't seem like you could ever find anything else. Because no one has mesmerized your mind like a narcissist. But no one has, you never dealt with a force, a contaminant that is attached to this narcissist like you're dealing with. But there's this little gnawing on the inside of you saying, girl, guy, The cat heard a noise, and the cat creeped over to the door. In here, air, 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 air. And the cat wanted to know what it was. And he peeps around the corner, He don't see anything. Ew, 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 ew. And he goes in the dark. He was in the light and he heard the noise. But the noise kept going. But he had to get farther and farther into the dark. Ew, 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 ew. And then the narcissist sticks his head out and look for the noise. Boom! And the gavel comes down. Should I say more? Your power is in trusting yourself. Your power is in knowing yourself. Just because a person put you down and you could have had it all of your life, now it's time for you to believe. If you got a family, they're depending on you and your wisdom. And then if you don't, to have a life for all the desires and goals that you have for yourself. You don't want to hear the noise that take you out of the light where you can see and understand into the darkness where you're groping and unsure. When you're dating the narcissist, if it feels so good that it's too good to be true, you might be just right. It may be too good to be true. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you, thank you, thank you, fam. You are so awesome. How you support me, how you subscribe to my videos. I want to thank you. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. Push that bell. Every time I upload, you will be the first one that know. And you can come with me on live chats when I come on. And I want you to know that I appreciate you so much. Feel free to write me at DestinyHepper12s@gmail.com. DestinyHepper12s@gmail.com. Join me every Monday on Clubhouse, 7:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's 9:45 Central Time. So join me on Clubhouse at 7:45 Pacific Standard Time. It's going to be awesome. We have questions, and my guests are literally phenomenal. Come there, learn, and grow on Clubhouse. And now the Android can even come on Clubhouse. So take a chance and join. I love you to life, and I will see you on the next video. And remember, my daughter, Dr. Bryan, is having a conference the 31st of July. Please go to Dr. Carmen Bryan, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. She have all her information on her channel, and I hope to see you there. And I know this conference is going to be extravagant. It's going to be extraordinary as she go each year to a different city and take you there. So I pray that you will enjoy the moment. God bless you, and don't forget to write me, DestinyHepper12s@gmail.com, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will see you on the next video for part 3, the final part. God bless you. Bye-bye.